In the previous episode, we had a chance to remake a scroll Parallax website. Today, we keep going on this topic with a beautiful website, Firewatch game. Firstly, we'll use ClonewebX to transfer this homepage to the Bricks environment. Start by accessing our dashboard and creating a new project title. Then fill in the live website for the domain box. After that, back to your main target page. Use our Chrome ClonewebX extension to simulate this page. To begin the cloning process, use the detector selector to precisely copy the elements you need. Sometimes you will encounter the original pages have a special div covered all the main elements. Now, let's proceed to apply this in the Bricks builder. Click on Export to copy it to the clipboard. In your Output Page Builder editor, paste them by Ctrl-V or Command-V. As you can see, the result immediately appears similar to the original page. Have you wondered why there are so many divs here? Actually, if we have a look thoroughly, the dev in original website aimed to use background divs instead of images. This is a good method to get responsive devices more effective. This technique Parallax involves moving multiple image layers at different speeds and creating a captivating illusion of depth and 3 dimensions. In this demonstration, we will add animation effects for 8 main layers. To easily control an animation builder, we need to adjust the ID and name of both layers and main layout. The first div is assigned as a main wrapper. This is an important element to set up trigger selector in our next timeline. The next div is the layer of main background. We will call the div contain our main layers as Parallax. If you inspect its position in the Style section, we need all images stacked directly on top of each other to execute the Parallax animation. To achieve this, set the parent div to position relative. Following that, rename the IDs of all elements inside this Parallax div. This layer corresponds to a specific part of the sun view. This layer is a highlight for this animation effect. Then recheck the position to ensure layer's position is set to absolute accordingly. Make the same thing for the next layer. We temporarily call it as mountain. Once again, adjust its position to absolute. In similar way, perform renaming IDs for the rest of Parallax layers. In this step, you almost finished a half of the process. Let's save the page and move on Litemove editor. Moving to the next stage, transition to Litemove builder and create a new timeline. Assign a descriptive name like Scroll Parallax for the timeline. The action in this demo is to create a scroll animation. In order to trigger the animation while scrolling, set up specific elements and timing. As we mentioned before, we will choose the main wrapper to be triggered element. Get its ID and paste to the first Start When tab control. For instance, we desire the top edge of the main wrapper to reach the top of viewport for start point. In the End When tab, you can vacate the trigger element if it's not different with Start When tab. Conversely, the center of selected div reaches to bottom of viewport, all animations stop working. To get the better performance in scrolling action, enable the scrub feature. In the next setting of animation control, have a look at our parallax layers. This parallax effect relies on different layers moving at distinct speeds. At this example, we just need to adjust appropriately the vertical translation parameters and their duration. Click the plus button to add the first animation. The sun layer is selected as the primary reference point to adjust the other layers. Get its ID to the top of list layers. For instance, this sun layer moves slower than the front layers, creating depth. So we will prolong the duration to almost a second. Beside that, we need to set its initial and final vertical coordinates to create desired movement speed. Vertical coordinate of 1800 pixel. So over the course of the animation, this sun layer will move downwards and it ends when getting 1800 pex. Let's preview this, and as you can see the movement if we scroll down the page. So let's keep going and also do that for the next mountain layer. Maybe configure it the same duration. Don't forget to assign the selector ID. We add a move transform at 0 pixel or at the beginning point, and animate downwards to 1600 pixel when scrolling down. If you look at this from a three-dimensional perspective, it is a little bit closer to us than the first sun layer, which means it has to move a little bit faster. So this downwards animation, which counteracts the scroll speed, has to be a little bit less intense. Keep continuing this process for other layers, and adjust their movements based on their relative positions and intended speeds. These values, they change depending on the image that you want to animate. So you just have to play around with this a little bit until you find values where it looks really good. Once completed, preview the parallax scroll animation. And now we have this really stunning parallax scroll animation. In the final step, you just need to export JavaScript code to your page. These visual animation effects are automatically created and based on standard of GSAP library. There are a lot of ways to add these code to your current page builder. For example, we added a code element directly on Brick's page and embed JS code here. Let's save the page and enjoy the result. If you're interested in learning another animation technique effect, don't hesitate to follow us.